one of the things I found is after you do a down back 2 with Heihachi, as you can see it's +6, you can pretty much do this as well. That's a free counter hit launch every single time if your opponent decides to mash. Works every single time. And you know some people love to mash in this game, so keep this in mind. Now, however, this move is launch punishable at -15, so you know, it's kind of a risk versus reward type of situation. The next thing I want to show is just some of the neutral options that you can utilize. So for instance, simple jabs, just like they say in boxing, the jab is the #1 punch in boxing. The same could be said for in Tekken. So for instance, I can do standing 1, down 4. Standing 1, down back 2. They're both high crushes, right? Now, of course, again, with down back 2, it's launch punishable, so you have to be mindful of that. However, again, if this lands, just like the prior example, if it lands and they're still mashing, that's going to work. So you can put it all together, you know, just doing this, and then bam, you can just catch your opponent off guard with that. Another thing that I like is running this move after down 4, or should I say, yeah, down 4, on hit, if they mash, that's going to connect. And this is safe, so you don't really have to worry about if your opponent blocks because it's -8. Hold on. This, yeah. So you can do stuff like that. Now, if your opponent starts to get, you know, hip to what you're doing and going here, so let me show you what you can do instead. So if we set our opponent to duck, right? So now it will look like this. Your opponent's probably low parrying, expecting low. This is when you can start doing this. Now the reason why this works is because this move is 22 frame startup. This move is 23 frames. So your opponent essentially has 1 frame to guess between this and this. However, in the situation where you're just simply just throwing out jabs or 1-2 and you know, your opponent starts to kind of try to low parry, that's time that. But I feel like honestly this would work better with 1 jab, because then with 1 jab you could do 1 back 2 and your opponent is going to get caught if they're trying to expect the low out of this situation. So moving on to the punch parry, which is up back 2, and this move I really like because it's safe at -9. You can pretty much catch your opponent with either standing 1 into parry, 1-1, 1-1 into parry, 1-2, parry, down forward 1, parry, forward 3, parry. If your opponent happens to block this, you can parry from this as well. So there's many different ways that you can bait into this particular move. And of course, it will wall splat, so that is a very good setup if you want to use it in that particular way. Another move I want to highlight is a delayable counter hit string, which is down forward 4-2. So down forward 4 by itself is 13 frame startup, -6, so it's safe. However, the follow-up is only -12. For what you get out of this move, if it lands on counterattack, is well worth the risk, and it will look like this. So if your opponent happens to be mashing, they're gonna, you know, just follow up with whatever combo that you have, whatever that might be. You know, your mileage will vary with this, but I feel like this is a very good move to use. Another move I like is this move right here. Now, this move up to is 19 frames. It's -9, so it's safe, but you can do the follow-up, and it's a heat engager. Now, the heat engager, if it blocks, If they block it, it's only -11. That's a slap on the wrist. Now, if you're already in heat and doing this, you can cancel out of it for whatever combo that you want as the Heihachi player. So I feel that that's something worthwhile to work on. So what do you do after landing the punch parry? So two options that I like to utilize are, one, you can do this, or you could just do 4-4-2. However, your opponent can get out of this by simply, I believe it's quick recovery. Your opponent can get out of that, and you know, so they'll spring up like this. So that first option won't work because they'll have time to block low and basically take your life. However, if they do that and you anticipate it, and if you're fast enough, that's going to be a guaranteed launch. So experiment with that. If you take too long, they'll be able to block it. But if you time it just right, it's a free launch. So bear that in mind. So now that brings me to Heihachi's down back 3 low kick, which looks like this. So this move is -13 on block, which is not so bad. It does 10 damage, but the damage from this kick is not really the it's not that big of a deal. It's your options after it hits. So just because it's -2 is not inherently bad. What you can do is after down back 3, you could do down back 4. You can do down back 2, because down back 2 and down back 4 both high crush. Now you might be wondering, well, why would I bother with down back 4? If down back 4 connects and your opponent is still mashing, this is what happens. You do a while rising 2, and then you can do follow options like back 1-4. You can do that. Same thing, like I mentioned to you earlier in this video, if you connect down back 2, they're still mashing, you have that option. So you can put that all together by just simply doing down back 3, then that, and then this if you want, if they're still mashing, or just simply do down back 3, down back 4, and if they're mashing, come up with the while rising 2, if that's what you want to do. Now another good option that's kind of like in line with the standing jab options that I showed earlier is back 2. Back 2, the regular back 2, not the one where you're charging or the one that you're just framing. Regular back 2 is 22 frames and it's +2 on block. So you can do the same options here. You can do back 2, standing 1, or 1-1-2. Or what I also like to do is utilize the trade of forward 1+2, which is 12 frames. So it would look like this. Now as you can see, at that point, Jin is -19. You, the player, are +19. And that will allow you to do that guaranteed. You can also follow up with that as well if you want. So it pays to know the moves that can trade with your opponent, because the frame properties will be different, because the amount of time that you will recover from your opponent's fastest move is going to be quicker, and your opponent is going to be still stunned. Now, when your opponent is stunned in this way, any move that you follow up with that is within that 19 frame window will connect. So for instance, I can do headbutt, and you can do that as well, because down forward 1 is 13 frames. Because back 4 is 18 frames, that is well within the 19 frame window you have from this trade. So for instance, if you're near the wall, it would look like this, and then you can just do whatever whatever you wish to do. So this is my first Tekken video I'm posting to my channel in terms of long form content. For those that may not know me, I was a former tournament pro. I went under the name Blood Red. I was arguably one of the top lay players in the United States, so it's crazy that I'm using Heihachi here. So I'm just going to pass on some of my old man knowledge to you guys when it comes to neutral. Hopefully some of this might be effective for you, and if you like this, you know, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and you know, leave me any comments and questions you have in the comment section.